The late Sir David Tang, original, outspoken, and one of Hong Kong's best-known entrepreneurs. This week on Managing Asia, we pay tribute to an extraordinary man who created names we know well: China Club, Shanghai Tang, China Tang. Here's an interview I did with him in 2014. Hope you enjoy it. He has celebrities and royalty for friends. Sir David Tang, the flamboyant entrepreneur from Hong Kong who created his own Tang dynasty. Starting with the China Club 23 years ago.
Sometimes when your friends have important things happen in their life, it's important to travel or be a part of it with them.
A private members club that has expanded to Beijing and Singapore.
And it became very successful, so I thought that perhaps I wasn't bad at it, and so there was no looking back since then.
Even at his new retail venture in Hong Kong, we saw Lionel Richie shopping on a Thursday afternoon. When granted a rare interview with the elusive businessman, we tried to find out how he spots opportunities.
In my case, I don't have the luck of Newton with an apple dropping on somebody's head and suddenly discovering the great law of gravity. It's probably because I'm very observant about the trends, I'm very observant about what is wrong, I'm very observant about what people want, what people don't want, and that's all part of finding a niche for a business that stands out and be successful in itself because you've found the solution, as it were, to a problem.
His most famous creation was Shanghai Tang, which he founded in 1994.
Even more absurd that China today, with that kind of population and power, has no brand, no known brand, which is at the tip of people's tongues in the West.
Tang went on to popularize Chinese chic for modern wear and stitched together China's first global luxury brand, which he sold off to Swiss powerhouse Richemont in 2006. So what is your secret to creating successful brands like Shanghai Tang, China Club?
Well, I think 99% is luck. There is no secret. I mean, if there was a secret formula by which we can all identify successful businesses, this wouldn't be the world in which we live. I have young people asking me, well, what do I have to do? But it is a ludicrous proposition, totally stupid and moronic even, for anybody to expect that there should be a life formula for success, not only in business, but in anything. I mean, you know, how do you get hold of a girl? Well, if you're handsome, that increases the possibility. But then very ugly men have very beautiful women as well. So that's the case where, in fact, there isn't perhaps a secret formula. What spurs somebody on is a success tends to make them more confident. And because they're successful, there must have been mistakes that they rectified and they have learned. And those people who learn from their mistakes, and after all, experience is what I would regard as a concatenation of mistakes, those are the smart ones who then go on to finding other businesses that would have less possibility of going wrong. And so it's a matter of being smart and commonsensical, and also, in some cases, intellectually clever.
Doing what he knows best, Tang has started a string of other businesses, including the Pacific Cigar Company, which imports Cuban cigars to Asia, and a new lifestyle boutique that opened to much fanfare with a quirky name.
I thought, well, what is the most famous tune in the world, other than the wretched Happy Birthday, perhaps, is probably Beethoven's first, da-da-da-da, and I think everybody would know that. So I thought that if you sang that, tang, 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 that would make people remember it. And of course people will say it was a bit egotistical to call a shop after your name 4 times. But do I care? No. I mean, as long as it serves its purpose, that's fine. And people will now keep saying Tang, Tang, Tang. I said, no, Tang, 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 Tang. And it's a way of making people try to remember the name.
So with Tang, 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 Tang,
Yes.
I understand you spent 18 months
Yes.
on the project, plowed in an initial investment of $6 million, chose this heritage building with 3,500 square foot space to showcase all your products. What's your business concept for this store?
I think the greatest growth on earth in the next 10 years is going to come from the rising middle class of China. And I see that there are hundreds and thousands of young people, in particular those who have gone outside of China to outside universities, some Ivy League, some Oxbridge, some not so grand, but they're all very intelligent, having what we Chinese call soaked in salt water, and going back and understanding some of the values and some of the nuances of designs and style and elegance. And that sector of between the 25 and the 40-year-olds is going to be the most dynamic, the most ambitious, the most energetic group of people in China, of whom I estimate there would be about 100 to 150 million. And so I thought that there was an enormous niche in the Chinese market alone for these young and dynamic people to go and deck out their own flats. So my idea was that every shop I would have should not be a large one, but as much as possible assimilating it to a normal flat, but on a grander scale, so that I'm selling, first of all, a dream as well. So obviously I don't
So something
expect,
for them to aspire to.
yes, exactly. That's the aspiration. And after all, branding is all about aspiration. So when I go on expanding this, all of these, like Shanghai Tang in the old days, were similar, but not identical.
Does that mean that this store competes directly with Shanghai Tang, the fashion
Oh, the
chain you
world,
founded and
there's
sold
so
off to
much-
Richmond?
No, and there's a huge market there. I'm still a very good friend with the chief executive of Shanghai Tang, and we tread on different areas, and it's not a matter of competition. It's a matter of our finding new customers and they're finding new customers, and it's not mutually exclusive. I'd be delighted if people came and bought from us and them as well.
But you know, in the case of Shanghai Tang, when it became hugely successful, you sold it off. You think you would be tempted to sell off the business if it became that successful?
But there was a reason for that, which not everybody knows. But I mean, the crux of the matter was that I was not, the partnership between Richemont and myself was going sour for personal reasons. And you can't have two people arguing all the time. And so it was either my buying them out or they buying me out. But I certainly didn't have the money at that time to buy them out. So I was left with little choice but crawl out of that partnership with still a bit of dignity left, I hope.
So you've learned your lesson from that venture that you can now apply to this
Yes, I
one.
would never, ever, ever go into bed with a corporation, especially one that doesn't understand or underestimate individual talents. You see, a lot of big corporations are full of people who want to take credit, and therefore, if there was a prima donna, they would always try to do you down. I remember my great friend Simon Murray becoming the chairman of Deutsche Bank Asia when he went to see the chairman of the Deutsche Bank back in Germany. And he said, Dr. whatever his name was, Schmistoff or whatever, he said, what advice would you give me? And the great doctor said, he says, there are two kinds of people working at Deutsche Bank. One lot who work very hard, and the second group who wants to take credit. He said, I would strongly recommend you join the first group because it's very competitive in the second group. So, you know, it's very, very dodgy to involve yourself with corporates because they're full of people who want to be able to say, well, I'm responsible for this and I'm responsible for that. They don't want people to say, oh, Tang is the genius, he's entirely responsible for that.
So you will never sell off this brand, even if the opportunity came up?
No, if you gave me $1 billion tomorrow, I'd run like a Usain Bolt, bolt away immediately. I'm seduced by money, not per se, but you know, intellectually, if one starts a business that becomes hugely profitable, it is important to think and to have it realized, because time and time again I've seen in the history of business where people are too greedy and they stay on. BlackBerry is a classic example where it was worth absolute, you know, billions. I think it might have been capitalized at about 30 billion. And now look at it, it's in a rather sorrowful state. I want to be able to make it a successful business. I mean, this is part of my business, and the most important aspect of Tang is its profitability and its value. And it's going to be hard work, but I don't mind a bit of hard work. Shanghai Tang was one of the very first stores that tried to promote the Chinese brand, and actually, to this day, I'm gratified to see, in a way, that nobody's actually managed to equal it, which is an indication that it's not easy to do. So, you know, from that point of view, it's comforting.
Stay with us. More with Sir David Tang in just a moment. Managing Asia, we'll be right back.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.